Laura TV. We are Jay and Laura LaFoon here to answer your questions about marriage and relationships.
Or sometimes just offer you some tips. And for the past few weeks in the next couple, we are taking cliches, those phrases that we've all heard all of our lives, and seeing how they might apply to marriage. So here's this week's cliche. The grass is always greener on the other side of the fence.
And boy, was this true when we moved into our our home, oh my goodness, 18 years ago now? Yeah, our last home that we moved into hadn't been lived in for a year. So the lawn hadn't been taken care of for over a year. And you gotta understand, my neighbor, Luke, he's like Mr. Cut the grass every 3 days. Everything's green and bright and beautiful. And so I was looking at our yards and I was comparing our yards, and I knew I had to do something to step it up. That's good when it can motivate you to do something positive. But looking at Luke and just being jealous of him does nothing for his and my relationship. And that's what happens in marriage, is that we see another marriage and we go, oh, they've got it so good. Oh, they know how to do it. And we don't see them behind closed doors. We don't see them when they're hashing out real life.
And this is the cliche that comes to my mind when I am counseling with women via email or face-to-face or via Facebook who have said, you know what, Laura, I have found that man that's not my husband, because you know what, I have found this other man who encourages me and he gives me compliments and he listens to me and he does all the things I wish my husband would do, but he doesn't do it. And so I'm just wondering, should I leave this marriage and move on over here? And all of a sudden that cliche pops in my mind, the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. And you know what? It's true and not true, because when you look over there and you compare it, it looks green, but you haven't seen everything that goes into taking care of that yard. And that's what we came to realize with Luke and Martha and their beautiful yard. We were not willing to spend the amount of time they spend in their yard to make, I mean, these people have gorgeous flowers and they have sprinkler systems that do the flowers, and we just weren't willing to do that. And so when you come to that point in your marriage where you're looking at that marriage over there and saying, but it looks so much better, or that man or that woman treats me so much nicer than my husband does, do the things it takes to make your marriage greener. Invest the time that your marriage and your relationship needs.
The grass is always greener where it gets watered, where it gets fertilized, where it gets sunshine, and where it gets mowed. And so when it comes to your marriage, you've got to do those things necessary. I remember I asked Luke time and again, how come your grass is so nice? And he's like, Jay, water, fertilizer, sun. And I would ask, why is your grass? Water, fertilizer, sun. When it comes to marriage, money, sex, family. Money, sex, family. Those are the things you got to work on all the time. Your money issues, you got to work them out. Your sexual issues, you got to work them out. And your family issues, you got to realize you married a crazy family. I know. But anyway, you work on those things and you get your grass green.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to Jay and Laura TV. We are Jay and Laura LaFoon here to answer your marriage about, not your marriage. We're here to answer your questions about marriage and relationships. Hey, it wouldn't be TV if we didn't make a few mistakes.
We're here to answer your marriage.